What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we are cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines. And who better to join me than my sous chef, Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, internet community. I am perfectly normal, I swear.
Perfectly normal and locked in, but before we get into
Yep.
any of the news and any of the other housekeeping stuff, tomorrow is the day, or today is the day, pending the release of this video. But we are going to PAX East. We might be on the show floor right now, talking, playing games, seeing some of you guys. Come say hi if you happen to know us, if you are a part of this community. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time. We got some more content coming your way from PAX later in the week. And if you're new here, why don't you just consider subscribing here to Game Sandwich for all the latest gaming news, rumors, and reviews. And speaking of news, there are some things I like talking about. There's some things I don't like talking about. This one, on the bad side, you know? We're not doing good. There was a rumor making the rounds from the known video game leaker Ghost of Hope, where recent changes could be coming to the Call of Duty releasing in 2025. Now, according to Ghost of Hope, Call of Duty 2025 is set to have seasonal limited time modes. That's a normal thing. They had the Squid Games one. They have a whole bunch of other ones. It's a fun time. But the catch here, instead of them being free to play to all players, they could be locked behind the game's battle pass, meaning you're going to have to pay $20 to $30 to play these game modes. Aiden, do I have a right to be mad? Just say yes.
Yes, you do. And I don't even know why we're covering this on Community Kitchen when it should clearly be a Gamer Grudge episode so we can rip it a new one. But I forgive you for that. So I'm just gonna say it. I mean, Call of Duty, I've always thought you were stupid. I've always thought Activision was stupid. I haven't played Call of Duty for I don't know, like a decade. Why? Because Call of Duty is repetitive garbage that is the same thing every single year. It doesn't get any changes, and if it does, they're kind of dumb changes. They don't listen to the community, and if they claim that they do, they obviously don't. And this is another instance where they're going to be like, hey, we're not listening to the community, and we're going to just charge you extra money in order to be able to play a game mode that's probably not going to be that good. Like, imagine if you had to pay $20 or $30 in order to play the Quick Game Battle Pass game mode or whatever. Like, just imagine if you had to pay that.
Yeah.
That $20, $30 is not worth playing red light, green light. A game mode does not constitute a full DLC.
This is where the conversation kind of evolves because, as we all know, last week the news came out that Call of Duty 2025 is set to be one of Xbox's first games to have that $80 price point. And I get Call of Duty always has this Battle Pass thing. That's just the nature of it. But when you charge $80 for this game, and then you're taking game modes that should just be free to play, that should just incentivize people to go on to buy a battle pass or whatever, and you lock it but now behind this paywall, there's a bigger problem here. There's a way bigger problem than any other thing we've covered as of late, where it's like,
don't you know, Kevin? The creation of games is getting more expensive, so they have to implement the costs onto the consumer. Because a team of 33 people can't possibly make a game that blows a AAA game out of the water. Not at all. That never happens.
They never released a game called Clair Obscure Expedition 33. They never did.
Yeah.
No.
To get into character, the gaming industry is the greatest industry ever. Call of Duty is the greatest game. No game ever beats Call of Duty. Not even Battlefield. Have you seen Battlefield? Battlefield is non-existent anymore because Call of Duty.
I was about to say, I haven't seen Battlefield, but apparently they're making a new one. Which now, if you're going at $80 and you're doing this BS by locking games behind a paywall, now would be the best time to get your stuff together, EA, and release a more complete and well-rounded Battlefield game to get back in that conversation that we always had, whether do I play Call of Duty or Battlefield.
But Kevin,
I know what you're gonna say.
Listen to your words here.
I know.
Listen to your words.
Damn it.
You're expecting EA to not follow what Call of Duty's doing and not make people pay more for things? You're expecting this?
I'm so in the trenches in the worst way. I'm in a place where I'm like, I want to play Call of Duty. I enjoy it from time to time. I'm not good at it by any stretch of the word. My reflexes, my reaction time, it's tanked. It's done. I'm cooked. I'm
It
just
went downhill since Black Ops 2.
exactly. Which, funny enough, this Call of Duty is going to be a sequel to, apparently. So there's everything all together in a nutshell. But again, you're charging $80. You're adding free-to-play game modes, which I want to add. These aren't like life-changing game modes either. Like these aren't like the red light, green light thing you talked about. It was fun for all of maybe like 3 or 4 games, and that's being generous. I'm not paying to play this game mode. Like, again, grain of salt because this is just a rumor and leak. But I think that sparks the conversation of like, games are getting expensive. Like you said, they're only going up. When does it become? I mean, it's already like unsuitable. But to add game modes to the mix, to like you have to pay to play, that's not right at all.
Yeah, you like. I just stand by the sentiment of Activision, you're stupid. Treyarch, you're stupid. Infinity Ward, you get a pass. I mean, you made Modern Warfare 2, which was a really good game. But even you're stupid on occasion. I'm not taking you completely out of the equation. But just all of them, not good. They're like Bungie. Bungie is stupid too. I don't like Bungie.
Well, they got.
They're like EA. They will make you pay for everything and anything and everything. Throw Nintendo in there too, because they're raising prices on things. All those companies.
Everybody. And I'm still waiting. I think it's this week that PlayStation does theirs, but I'm going to hold my breath. I'm going to err on the side of positivity, hopefully. But I also want to ask you, because like there has been a lot of discourse around this. Call of Duty getting Squid Games, they got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they got Jay and Silent Bob. Those are all collabs that have happened within Call of Duty. And
I mean, they also have Seth Rogen, I saw.
I was just about to lead to that. They just got Seth Rogen. And there's a lot of people saying, like, oh, what happened to the Call of Duty I knew and loved? Like, what's the matter? Like, why is it becoming all collabs? I want to stress the point. Yeah, like, because they're following that model, and they're making money off this. Like, they're making tons of money off this. Granted, they're playing to an audience that is very specific. The theme for a bulk of these skins and whatever you want to call them, it's weed. It's people who smoke, and they're leaning into it heavily. And I don't know. I think that's going to dilute the game a lot. It has to me, because whenever I get killed by Leonardo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, I'm kind of like, hold on. Am I playing Call of Duty, or am I playing, like, Fortnite, but real, kind of?
I mean, just, it's because, you blame it on, like, I don't know why you're blaming it on people who smoke weed.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying people are buying this.
Partaking it a little bit. I mean, it's a nice pastime for
I
some
need
people,
it to calm down.
You know,
Gaming's pissing me off too much.
I have anxiety, thank you.
Fair. I do too from this.
But no, I blame Gen Z. That's who I blame. I blame the brain rot that is Gen Z and the creation of Fortnite for all of that. I blame them entirely. I blame Epic Games. Epic Games is entirely at fault for all the collaboration stuff that happens. If you don't like Call of Duty now because you don't like all the stuff that they collaborate with, blame Fortnite, blame Epic Games. Clear as day, because they are following what the children want. You are no longer in the generation that makes the rules. Gen Z makes the rules. So does Gen Alpha. In like 10 years. Yeah. Millennials we don't count anymore. We don't matter to society.
Now, to prevent what happened in our Switch conversation earlier in the week, I want to ask you to kind of corral this back. $80 games is suddenly a real thing. Overnight, practically. Where does your barometer stop? I mean, granted, I don't, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't partake in the battle passes of the world or any of that. When does that become a thing where it's like that battle pass should just be included in the $80 price tag instead of $80 plus another $20, essentially taking up to $100 to play a game nowadays?
Okay, I'm gonna spell this out. If you're Gen Z and you're watching this, because millennials, you know what it's like. I'm not gonna have to explain anything to you. But if you're Gen Z or Gen Alpha and you're watching this and you're like, man, $80, that's a bit expensive. Okay, now imagine this. Once upon a time, games were $50. Once upon a time, games were $60. And a DLC, like Call of Duty, for instance, the map packs, the entirety of the map packs was $20 for all the map packs that you get for the entirety of the year. So grand total, you were spending $80 for the game and all of the map packs. That included zombies maps, that included a bunch of multiplayer maps. And if they made new game modes, it included that too.
Yeah.
$80. So if you ask me, at this point, knowing that prices have to increase in general because inflation and all that, $90 is what I feel like should be like the price for the game plus all of the map packs.
Yeah.
That is what I feel. That is what I hold it to. Because that is the like it used to be the standard was like $80 that you'd pay. I feel like $90 is more than fair. Maybe $100 for everything. But that's it. I wouldn't go beyond $100 to get the game plus all the battle pass stuff.
Exactly. Like back in the day, not to sound like an old boomer or anything, like you said, games were complete, or at least damn near complete. And those are the games that we continue to go back to, that we continue to want to play, and nothing nowadays sticks because of that. We always talk about how players want to get into a game and they're heavily ingrained in it, and that's the only thing they're going to play, and it's going to take a lot to kind of get them off of that. Releasing Call of Duty at $80 and then you have to pay another $30 or $20 to get this battle pass, it's not easy to swallow. Like at
Call
all.
of Duty isn't even a game worth $80 to me.
No,
it's
not.
It is still worth $60 to me because what is it other than a short campaign that only lasts for like maybe 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're spending most of the time playing the online mode. And the online mode is definitely not worth $80 to play. It really is not.
No.
If you ask me, a game like Elden Ring, that is worth the $80 price tag because you're going to be putting a ton of hours into it. You're going to be playing, like, just to beat the main game, you're putting in like 80 to 100 hours mostly.
Yeah.
And so, and I have a general rule of for games, which is like, for most games, I won't buy them unless I know I am going to spend $1 for every hour that I play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So like for big RPGs, that's where I think the money is actually worth paying it for.
Oh yeah.
Like $80, I would definitely spend $80 to get Elden Ring. I would.
Mm-hmm.
I would spend like a solid $80 to get the next game that From Software makes that isn't Night Rain, because I know Night Rain is just an online only thing. But then like the next RPG that they make, I'd spend $80 on because I know I'm gonna put the time into it.
Mm-hmm.
But for Call of Duty, I'm not gonna put 80 hours worth of gameplay into the online mode. I know some people will.
Yeah. No, there's gonna be those
and if people find value in that, then hey, they find value in that.
Exactly.
Not hating on anybody, But personally, for me, I don't think that it's worth that $80. I think it's worth the $60 that it used to be, especially because they reuse assets, and also because they don't put that much effort into making it bigger than it was before.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And suddenly, to me, I forgot where I said this, but I got ratioed for it. I think it was on Twitter. Suddenly, Game Pass looks far more appealing. Like, I get the price of it is probably going to go up given all these different price increases and blah, blah, blah. But I can get Call of Duty Day 1, not pay the 70, 80, whatever dollars to buy the base game, and then I might be more inclined to buy this $20 Battle Pass. Albeit, I'm not happy that modes are locked behind it, allegedly. But still, like, again, if you're interested in games like Call of Duty and you still want to play all these games, Game Pass suddenly, to me, is the place to be. Not sponsored, but could be. Phil Spencer. I love Game Pass. I love cloud gaming. Also, real quick, for no apparent reason, I want to shout out a game. I don't know why I thought about it, but I did, and it deserves to be talked about. Do you remember a game called Brink? It was like an FPS
Yeah.
shooter. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah,
So,
I remember it, and I remember my old manager at GameStop always saying the number one rule of the store was never talk about Brink.
damn. I was so
So I never
convinced
talked
that was
about
going
it.
to be the next big thing. Like, I was so heavily convinced. Like, I bought the game. I was like, when did it come out? I'm looking at this. 2011. Yeah, so it was I was freshman year of high school. I was like, oh, Brink is going to be the next FPS, like, best thing ever. And then it disappeared very quickly. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just bringing up another game randomly here just to talk about. But yeah, Call of Duty, scummy tactics here, if this is all true. Again, grain of salt, because I know there's going to be someone that types, there's no way it's going to happen because Call of Duty's blah, blah, blah. No.
Well, people said that $80 games weren't going to happen. Then Nintendo introduced that. They also said that there were a lot of people who also said that a $450 Nintendo Switch 2 wasn't going to happen. A lot of people said that the most it would be was 400.
Yeah.
And look at it now.
They called me a madman. I said it. They called me crazy. I am crazy.
People also said that the Xbox wouldn't increase in price. Now the Xbox Series X is $600.
Again, they're just
and the
damaging
cheaper of the two is the PlayStation 5. So.
And suddenly, the Switch 2 looks like the budget option amongst all the consoles that are like $700. Yeah. Crazy world we live in. But please stop with the price increases. My little wallet can't take any more of it. Please.
It's nothing but dust.
Poof. No, actually, it definitely is. But any final thoughts here before we wrap it up?
I mean, none other than these are horrible times we're living in. We are truly in the worst timeline.
We are.
If anybody, we're in the darkest timeline. If anyone gets that reference.
Ah, look at that. You know, maybe everything will break at one point, and then we're all. What if we have a gaming crash? What if gaming just kind of goes? Games are like $10.
Like the housing market crash that happened in 2008? Yes.
We gotta.
Let's get the gaming market crash. Let's do it.
Plan ahead. Microsoft, if you're up for sale for like $10, I'm buying you. I got you. I'll do it. But that about does it here for this episode of Community Kitchen. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new here, consider dropping a like and following here on Game Sandwich on all our socials everywhere pretty much, because we are at PAX East covering all these fun games and all this stuff. And if you see us on the show floor, say what's up. But that about does it. I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.